All right, so let's talk about the Pelicans versus the Suns, and I want to peel back the curtain for the second day in a row. I'm not even gonna lie, it is Monday morning. It's Monday morning. What I realized, and I don't think I ever realized this, or maybe I'm just getting old, but watching like 3 days straight of basketball is actually very mentally taxing, especially when you do a recap on every game. You have to actually sit there and watch it because typically, if I was not doing a recap on every game, I probably would have turned on verses on my TV. I would have done something else. I probably would have read a book, gone to sleep, done something else. Watch DVR or something, like watch Power Force, like from finale again. But because I'm trying to watch the games and trying to break them down, I have to sort of pay attention. And I must admit, in the first half where the Suns held the Pelicans to 34 points, I was not paying attention. Like, I watched enough to sort of talk about it if it was a blowout and say, hey, the Suns are going to dominate. And I was going to easily just blow past this game and talk about the awards ballots, how they're the worst ever. We'll still talk about that. But the Pelicans actually put up a fight. They scored 34 points in the first half, but in the third quarter, they scored 37. And I want to say that is the constructs of a great coach. You have a team that did not do what they needed to do in the first half. Willie Green probably got on them at halftime saying, listen, we did not come this far to get dog walked by the Suns. And they came out and said, you know what, coach, you're right. And they scored 37 points, and the Suns were not expecting to get punched in the mouth like that. And by the end of the third quarter, they cut it to single digits on a Larry Nance, like last second, what was that, a dunk or a layup? I don't even remember, honestly. It was like a last second shot that Larry Nance stole the ball. They stole the ball from the Pelicans. He stole it back and laid it up before the quarter ended. But Chris Paul is Chris Paul, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Devin Booker had probably, for me, the quietest 25 points I've ever seen from anyone. Because Devin Booker in that fourth quarter, typically it's him and Chris Paul closing out the game. Chris just said, listen, I'm not about to lose to a Pelicans team that, theoretically speaking, shouldn't even be in the playoffs. Like, I'm not about to lose to a Pelicans team that most likely would have lost to the Clippers had it not been for Paul George getting COVID. Like, I'm not about to lose to a Pelicans team that drafted me when they were the New Orleans Hornets. I'm not about to do that. Like, that's not about to happen. I'm not about to go down 1-0 to a team that is like 50 games under 500. Like, that's not happening. Like, these boys are competing for a lottery pick. Like, they trying to get Chet Holmgren. I'm not about to lose to them. And that's just simply what it was. Like, Chris Paul, it's this narrative, and my brother pushes it all the time. It's this narrative that Chris Paul isn't clutch and that Chris Paul shrinks in the biggest moments. And I just simply don't know where that came from, because I remember back in 2015, Chris Paul really on by himself on that last second shot sent home the defending champion San Antonio Spurs that just beat the Miami Heat, the Big Three Miami Heat, and broke them up, and LeBron went back to Cleveland. I remember in Game 7, Chris Paul hit an off-balance layup, almost killed Blake Griffin, because Blake Griffin tried to because I guess he thought that Chris was going to miss it. He tried to go up and tried to alley-oop it back in, and it most likely would have been an offensive interference because Blake was hanging on the rim towards the end, but Chris banked it in. He arced it over Tim Duncan and sent the Spurs home, the defending champion Spurs. I'm old enough to remember that. I'm old enough to remember that Chris had a bunch of plays. He made a bunch of smart decisions in his playoff career where he was clutch and that he put teams away. And let's not forget that Chris Paul was the contributing factor to the Rockets going up 3-2 on the Warriors in 2018. And Chris Paul goes out with a hamstring injury. And guess what? The Rockets lose 2 straight, and the Warriors then win in 7 games to go on and sweep LeBron James and the Cavaliers. Chris Paul is an impact player. He's one of the top 5 point guards of all time already. When he gets the ring this year, because he's going to win the championship, him and Devin Booker and the Suns, they're going to win the championship this year, as they should. He's going to finally be in that conversation because people only respect players with rings. And that's what that game turned into. I think the Suns let the foot off the gas because the Suns got bored. They hadn't played in 8 days. The Pelicans just were too easy in that first quarter. They weren't doing anything that scared the Suns. CJ McCollum had terrible efficiency. Brandon Ingram didn't really step up in that first half. The Suns just got bored, like they're human. I'm pretty sure it's like you watching the blowout. I'm pretty sure the players that are playing in the blowout are like, bro, can we sim this game like it's 2K? Can we sim this game so I can go home? Like so I can go watch Power Book 4 Force. I'm pretty sure some of them watch Force. They like, man, listen, like we didn't get a chance to watch it because we were practicing, watching game film. I'm about to go watch Abbott Elementary on DVR. Like, can we sim this game? But the Pelicans were like, nah, this game ain't over. And they gave the Suns a thrill, and that forced Chris Paul to go God mode, point God mode. But I have to give it to the Pelicans. The Pelicans got fight. And the Pelicans would not be a number 10 seed or number 9 seed if Zion Williamson played. I think you bring Zion Williamson back and Zion plays at the same efficiency that he did back last year before he got injured. I think that the Pelicans are dangerous. They're not a championship contender, don't get me wrong, but CJ McCollum gave them life because CJ McCollum still has it. And like I said before, CJ McCollum is a great player, but you didn't see the levels of his greatness often because Dame was the primary ball handler in Portland, and Dame was the guy. CJ has game out this world. He has handles. He's a natural point guard and a playmaker, and he's a prolific volume three-point shooter. Let's not forget how he destroyed the Nuggets back in the 2019 playoffs to get the Blazers to the Western Conference Finals against the Warriors. It was supposed to be Jokic and the Nuggets versus Steph, Clay, and the Warriors without Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant got injured. That might have been Jokic's coming out party where Jokic made the finals. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? But CJ McCollum said, no, y'all not going nowhere. And CJ sent the Nuggets home almost by himself because if I'm not mistaken, Dame Lillard did not have a good game that game 7 in the Western Conference semifinals against the Nuggets. He didn't have a good game. So all I'm saying is that CJ McCollum is that guy. Brandon Ingram's great too, but I think CJ McCollum, because he's such a great scorer and he's such a great shooter, he's unlocked a lot of great offense for Brandon Ingram because now the defense can't key in on Brandon Ingram. And also you have to respect CJ. So now Brandon can go ISO because Brandon Ingram's a great ISO scorer and also a great mid-range shooter. So he'll dribble and then pull up on you. He'll make them. So I think that CJ has unlocked a lot of open looks and shots for Brandon Ingram. Imagine when Zion comes back and now you have someone that can space the floor and CJ, that's a weapon. He's a 3-level scorer. Imagine Zion in there punishing switching defense and punishing small ball lineups. That would be a pretty dangerous team. And Willie Green is showing you he can coach his butt off. Willie Green knows basketball, and he was on that Suns staff. So him sort of getting the game from Monty Williams and seeing what Monty Williams does as X's and O's coach and probably the greatest adjustment coach in the game today, Willie Green is taking some of that to New Orleans. New Orleans had an amazing run. All you got to do is give the coach some players, man. Like, the Pelicans just needed some players. And what David Griffin, talk about David Griffin all you want to. What David Griffin did is that he went and got a baller in CJ McCollum. He saw, hey, I can go get a high-impact guy that can change the culture of this team as Zion sits out, and that's what CJ did. CJ gave the Pelicans a whole different look. And I now think that possibly the Pelicans could get one on the Suns. Now, do I think it'll be a sweep? I am 80% sure that the Suns are going to sweep the Pelicans. However, I now believe that the Pelicans have a chance to win a game. They're not going to win the series, and this might be the best game that they play, but the Pelicans showed me something. They showed me a level of fight that, to be honest, is very endearing, and I have to give a shout out to them, man. So shout out to the Pelicans. Y'all did that. Y'all are in the playoffs, and y'all are doing it while Zion Williamson, hand claps. Because someone got to do it, because Zion ain't doing it. Zion is doing all these windmill dunks and all of that. Zion needs to get out there and produce. That's all I'm saying. Zion needs to get out there and produce because Zion has a good team out there. If Zion goes out there and just gives us his 26 points on 63% shooting, man, I'm telling you, the Pelicans are going to be dangerous. That's why I'm looking at the Nuggets like, hey, are the Nuggets even going to really be a contender in this new Western Conference? Because imagine if the Pelicans get it together. Imagine that. And I know Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. And the thing about it is that Michael Porter Jr. hasn't truly hit his full potential. And the injury this year robbed him of that because he was going to be the certified second guy. So Michael Porter Jr. has not hit his full potential yet. Like Michael Porter Jr. could be like a Kevin Durant type of pure scorer at that small forward spot. So he didn't get the chance to really become that guy. So I know that Michael Porter Jr. has a great trajectory, and Jamal Murray is a great scoring guard. But to be real, and I have to really think about it, like I don't see it. Just like I said on the last recap, I just don't see it for the Nuggets when I see the Timberwolves emerging, and Anthony Edwards is becoming a star right before our eyes. The Grizzlies are clearly doing their thing. I think that the Suns, now granted, they showed me that Chris Paul still is that guy, and Chris Paul is a lot of the reason why they're winning the way that they are. But I believe that Devin Booker is learning how to win and learning how to close out these games from Chris Paul. And I believe if you keep Aiden, and mind you, Robert Sarver is gone, so shout out to Robert Sarver being gone. Robert Sarver, who was the owner or the governor of the Suns, he's a toxic, racist, sexist individual. He is gone. So now the Suns can get new ownership, and hopefully that ownership is more competent and more willing to spend money. They should re-sign DeAndre Ayton. He has definitely played up to his contract. He's not been a transcendent number one pick, but he's definitely been a producer, and he's probably going to be the first person in the 2018 class that had him and Trey and Luka. He's going to be the first guy to win a ring. Trey had a great run last year, but Ayton's going to be the first one in this class to win a ring. So Ayton deserves that bag. Mikal Bridges got the bag. Devin Booker's going to get the bag. So it's like the Suns are going to be dangerous. So, I mean, the Nuggets could be up there, but I just think that the Warriors' run of dominance in the West is over. So you have to look at who's next. Timberwolves, Grizzlies. I think the Pelicans are going to be dangerous. The Clippers very well could get it together. I think that they will. The Lakers could wake up, but LeBron only has a few years left. Like LeBron is closer to the end of his career than the beginning, and it's sad because I would love to see more of LeBron play, but LeBron got to live his life, and LeBron has to think about life after basketball, and LeBron can't be 40. Like, this ain't football. LeBron can't be 45 years old running up and down that court, man. That's not happening. LeBron gonna hang it up probably at 40. Like, he passes Kareem's record. Like, he plays with his son or plays with or against his son. He's hanging it up. I'm telling you, man. So you're not going to see a lot of the Lakers, and I'm not very confident in the competency of that organization. And who's to say the Rockets with Jalen Green that they don't turn up? Because the Rockets showed me some potential. So I'm not leapfrogging the Rockets over the Nuggets, but it makes me think. And I'm not saying that Denver won't make some moves, but it just makes me think. I wonder what Denver is going to be, because the Pelicans could definitely be dangerous. But I want to talk about the award race really quickly before we go, because it was a lot that I saw in this awards race that I thought was very toxic. And I feel as if this has to be the worst award season in NBA history. All right, so let's talk about the NBA award finalists. I'm going to read all of them off, and I'm going to give my reaction. So the finalists for the MVP is Giannis, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic. Kia Defensive Player of the Year, Mikal Bridges, Rudy Gobert, and Marcus Smart. Kia NBA Rookie of the Year, Scotty Barnes, Cade Cunningham, and Evan Mobley. Kia NBA Most Improved Player, Darius Garland, John Morant, DeJounte Murray. Kia NBA Sixth Man of the Year, Tyler Hero, Cam Johnson, Kevin Love. NBA Coach of the Year, Taylor Jenkins, Eric Spoelstra, Monty Williams. Okay? So MVP, we knew that it was going to come down to this, and we know most likely when all the votes are tabulated, we know that Jokic is going to win because he had an amazingly great statistical season. Although Joel Embiid had the narrative with him, Joel Embiid's the scoring champion, like the first center to be scoring champion since Shaq, and he has the highest points per game average by a center since, I believe, Moses Malone. So Joel Embiid was making history, and he was dragging that 76ers team with Ben Simmons holding protest. Like he was able to drag them to like the number 1 seed for a second before he went down with COVID, and then came back and still was giving you buckets. I just don't understand why Joel Embiid wasn't really truly given consideration, but at the very least, he's a finalist, all right? Jason Tatum and Devin Booker had great cases. Jason Tatum came a little bit too late, and when you look at Devin Booker's play, I believe that Devin Booker should have got some consideration, but you're going against these 3 big men that are doing it, like they're dominating, you know? So Devin Booker, because of that, and because you have a transcendent player right next to you, fair or not, he didn't make that top billing, even though they had the best record in the NBA. But I want Joel to win it, but Jokic is going to win it. And that is what it is. Now, Kia, NBA Defensive Player of the Year, I never thought in a million years I would see Marcus Smart listed. Marcus Smart is a great defender, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to validate him. If he wins, I actually would not be mad. But I never in a million years thought I would see Marcus Smart on any 2021, 2022 NBA award finalist list for anything. Like, Marcus Smart's going to be first team all defense. So shout out to Marcus Smart, because you fooled me, because I never would have thought you would have been on this list. So I think he should win. I definitely do. Rudy Gobert is just there because Draymond Green missed a bunch of games. Because Draymond Green definitely would have been a finalist over Rudy Gobert. Mikal Bridges has a case, though. I think it's a two-way race between Mikal Bridges and Marcus Smart. And I think that you have to really take credence in the fact that Mikal Bridges and Marcus Smart guard the perimeter, and they guard your best perimeter player. Look at what happened on last night for both of them. Last night, you have Mikal Bridges. He's guarding both CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram, switching possessions. Those are the 2 best perimeter players for the Pelicans. And then in the afternoon, you have Marcus Smart primarily guarding Kyrie Irving. Did Kyrie get 39? Yes. Did Kyrie get all 39 of his points on Marcus Smart? No. Okay? And it's a team game. Like, Marcus Smart was making it hard for Kyrie. And like, you look at that game, Marcus Smart was making an impact by making it hard on Kyrie, and Kyrie wasn't just knocking down shots over Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart was suffocating him. And also Marcus Smart was playing good switch defense on Kevin Durant, because they were bodying Kevin Durant up and suffocating him. So if Marcus Smart wins Defensive Player of the Year, I won't be mad. Kia, NBA Rookie of the Year, Cade Cunningham should have a case. But because his team, and this is an argument I was privy to on NBA Twitter, because they made an argument of this. They said that, hey, so Darko Milicic should have won NBA Rookie, and they're not being serious, it was a joke. But Darko Milicic, the Pistons won the championship that year, and LeBron did not make the playoffs. You had the Nuggets with Carmelo Anthony. They didn't make the playoffs, but Darko Milicic did, and he won a championship. So based off how people view how records, like, account for like how awards placements go, almost like you see with Jokic, Darko Milicic should have won then, right? Because we're not going on the play of how the players are playing in their season. We're going off of the team record. So by that logic, I'm guessing Evan Mobley or Scotty Barnes should be the Rookie of the Year. But Cade Cunningham, him missing like the first 7-8 games, and then him coming in and being an effortless scorer, and then we see the trajectory that Cade can be on. Like, Cade can get buckets. Like, Cade's a tall guard. He can get buckets. He's a good playmaker. I think that Cade is going to be a great number 1 pick. His outlook is going to shine bright. Now, do I think that Jalen Green might be the best professional? Like, at the end of the day, do I think Jalen Green has a higher trajectory than the rest of them? Yes. But I think that this 2021 class is going to be interesting, because I think Cade is going to be a great pro. I think that Evan Mobley is going to be a great pro. I'm pretty sure in a few years, you're going to see Evan Mobley as a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. I honestly believe that. And Scotty Barnes, he's playing in the playoffs right now, and Scotty Barnes has been a high-impact player for the Raptors, and one of the main reasons why they're the number 5 seed. But my thing is this. Cade Cunningham is a bucket. I think that Cade Cunningham should get real consideration for winning. But we all know most likely it's a race between Scotty Barnes and Evan Mobley. we're going to see people prioritize record over the impact on the season. Because if we're talking about the overall impact that Evan Mobley had on this team, Evan Mobley should win Rookie of the Year. But if we're going off of, hey, the record and who made the playoffs, that's going to be Scotty Barnes. So it's going to be either Evan Mobley or Scotty Barnes. Take your pick. I don't think that either one is a bad case, but I do agree that Cade Cunningham should get a look, okay? Cade Cunningham should get a look at being Rookie of the Year, and Cade Cunningham's going to be an all-star really soon, and I think he's going to turn the tide on the Pistons because the Pistons have a lot of good signs. They were playing some good basketball towards the end. It's just they didn't put that together for the totality of the season. I think as Cade grows into his game, they're going to be dangerous. Kia, Most Improved Player of the Year. This is more egregious. This is more egregious than the MVP. I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because at the very least, you can make the argument that Nikola Jokic is the MVP. But Ja Morant had an MVP-esque season, and Ja Morant probably got some MVP votes. How is that fair? How is a number 2 overall pick, how does a number 2 overall pick get a chance to be Most Improved Player when he's been playing at a high level his whole entire career? His second season, he beat the Warriors in the play-in and made the playoffs and took a game off the Jazz. Like I just think that that's unfair. Jordan Poole stepped up. Jordan Poole had to step into the starting shooting guard role. Klay Thompson was not ready to come back. And with Jordan Poole as their starting shooting guard, the Warriors were the number 2 team in the West, only being rivaled by the Suns without Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson comes back, you think that Jordan Poole is going to get off his game. And Jordan Poole still is producing. And then Jordan Poole comes back in game 1. And I know the vote's already in, but Jordan Poole comes in game 1, scores 30 points. Like Jordan Poole his trajectory is so bright, and y'all can't have him as a finalist for Most Improved Player because you have two all-stars here. Now you got 3 because Darius Garland was an all-star, but Darius Garland improved drastically from last year. And Darius Garland stepped up, and no one expected for him to have this type of season. But Colin Sexton went down, and Darius Garland turned up. So Darius Garland, out of this list of Darius Garland, Ja Morant, and DeJounte Murray should win. But DeJounte Murray has been dope. Ja Morant's an MVP player. I think that Jordan Poole should have definitely been up here. At the very least, because I understand the politics. Because all awards are politics. So you put Ja up here because Ja wouldn't have won an award either way. Ja wouldn't have won an award. So you put Ja up here because Ja didn't make the finalists for Kia NBA Most Valuable Player. And there's no other category to nominate Ja and reward him for his season. So you guys are giving him a reward by naming him Most Improved Player when Jordan Poole should have ran away with this. Or at the very least, Darius Garland and Jordan Poole should have been battling, but Darius Garland hands down should win this. If Darius Garland doesn't win this, it is a highway robbery, period. Ja Morant is going to be an MVP one day. Ja Morant could have easily been an MVP finalist had he played more games this season. This is a highway robbery, and we can't stand for it. Like the NBA awards people this year are on one. Kia NBA Sixth Man of the Year, y'all got it right. But we know Tyler Hero's going to win that. We know he is. Shout out to Kevin Love for getting that consideration. But Coach of the Year, all right? So this ain't bad. I'm not mad at Coach of the Year. And I knew that Tyronn Lue wasn't going to get consideration because of his team's record. But Eric Spoelstra should not be here. I understand he has the number 1 record, and Eric Spoelstra did some amazing things, but we got to show love to Ime Udoka. Because Ime Udoka, ever since January, for this whole entire year, 2022, he turned the Celtics around, and they've legitimately, over this time span, been one of the best, if not the best team in the NBA. Just this year, not the whole season, but 2022. From January the 1st, 2022 to the end of the regular season, the Celtics were amazing. And they were able to surge from in the play-in to the number 2 seed. And Ime Udoka doesn't get a Coach of the Year look. I think you got to give it to Monty because Monty should have won last year. Coach Monty Williams should have won last year. Y'all gave it to Tom Thibodeau because Tom Thibodeau brought the Knicks back for a year. Monty Williams should have won last year because Monty Williams took the Suns from out the playoffs to the NBA Finals. And I know you're judging off the regular season. They had an amazing regular season. They flipped the switch entirely. And you can put that on Chris Paul, but Monty Williams is the coach that's drawing up the sets. So Monty Williams is going to get a well-deserved Coach of the Year honor this year, but Ime Udoka should at the very least been nominated. I can't argue with Taylor Jenkins because the way that Taylor Jenkins was able to maximize the talent on that Grizzlies roster when Ja was out, they had no reason being 20-5 this year without Ja. They had no reason being honestly one of the better teams in the NBA without Ja Morant. They had no reason to be that, but they were. So Taylor Jenkins deserves that nod and deserves that respect. But Ime Udoka does as well. But maybe if Ime Udoka has that sustained level of success next year, he'll be a contender. But Monty Williams deserves to win, hands down. But y'all are very interesting with these award picks, man. Awards are very political. But listen, y'all got it. Y'all got it. But I'm going to go on and let you go, all right? I'm going to try to be better during the weekday because it's going to be only 3 games they're going to be on. It's going to be really 2 games that are on at 7:30. You have one comes on at 8:30, and then you have your 10 o'clock game, right? So I'm going to try my best to be better at watching these games. I'm sorry, I will do better. It was just so much basketball, man. Oh my God. I never knew I would OD on basketball, but I did this year, right? So listen, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be better. We're going to do better. Hey, listen, if you want to hear the individual segments instead of listening to the whole podcast, subscribe to Pulse Radio on YouTube. You can do that. I put up every game recap that I do as a singular video on YouTube. Now, if you can't find Pulse Radio because YouTube's playing with me, type in Pulse Radio Boston Celtics, type in Pulse Radio and a topic that I talked about, Pulse Radio James Harden, and it most likely will come up. And if all else fails, type in Pulse Radio Angie Wandu. That's the founder of the Shade Room. Of course, I interviewed her on last year. YouTube's playing with me. Stop playing with me, YouTube, okay? Y'all need to let Pulse Radio pop up when people search it, but also follow Pulse Radio on TikTok and on Twitter at Pulse Radio 100. And of course, like I said, on YouTube, just Pulse Radio. But outside of that, I will be better. We're going to be talking about the games later on tonight. And as always, I will see you on the other side.
You're listening to Pulse Radio.